How do you know PlayStation is not a normal game system? It carries these telltale signs. Scientists say its effects are mind-boggling. Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Here we have a normal, healthy young man. And here we have a fellow who's been experimenting with PlayStation for only a few minutes. Proof that we saps must be on our guard. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Alright guys, this is my thoughts on the mini PS1 that's going to be coming out in December. Now, my quick thoughts on this when I first saw it announced is I wasn't surprised. To be honest, coming out with these classic consoles is a marvelous idea. People are going to flock to these, especially kids that grew up in the early 90s, mid 90s, and maybe even the late 90s. People still had a PlayStation 1 and were using them. But when I first, my first initial reaction on this is kind of, I'll pass on this. And I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. I don't want to talk super negatively about it because I don't think it's a bad thing at all. There's a lot of PlayStation 1 games that I feel like should be brought forward into the modern times and I don't want to see forgotten. That I love to see at least get a remaster, if anything. Not remade at all, but a remaster is good. But the thing, the reason why I'm going to pass on this is because every game that I've seen announced so far, because for some reason Sony's not giving the full list of 20 games, I feel like is a very shady thing to do. I don't like that companies don't give you the list of the full product before you pre-order. I think that's bullshit. But the games that are announced so far don't entice me. And the thing also is, I have a majority of every PlayStation 1 game that I could ever want. Everything that I ever grew up with and all of the horror video games that were on the PS1 that I had interest in, I pretty much already own. And I have a PlayStation 3, is the thing. This is why I said I don't want to sound negative. I am a little confused of why this is such a huge deal for some of the people that are in the retro collecting scene. I mean, as far as to say like, ooh, I've got it, that's one thing. Like when the NES Classic came out and the Super Nintendo Classic came out and the N64 one that I rumored is coming out. I don't know. I don't know if that's actually coming out or not. I'm gonna have to do my research on that. But for the PlayStation 1 Classic, these games can all be played on a PlayStation 3, and they can be played well on a PlayStation 3. And the other thing is, and I'm talking about your actual physical discs, your PS1 discs, they can all be played on PS3. But the other thing is, when PlayStation 3 was out, they had the PS1 Classics that you could go in and buy because, you know, it's the only way at that time if you wanted to have the convenience of playing a digital version of your game on your PS3 without having to load it in and take it out. And I think the graphics were more scaled up on the PS1 Classics. Don't quote me out for fact on that, but I think it is because I owned the DualShock version of Resident Evil 2 PS1 Classic on PS3, and for what I could tell, it looked and played a little bit better than the actual disc version. With that being said, I think it's a little strange because PlayStation, well, not PlayStation, but Sony itself is, in my opinion, not very consumer friendly. They're not very consumer friendly when it comes to backwards compatibility, and they're not very consumer friendly when it comes to not making you have to rebuy the games that you already own multiple times when there's been literally no upgrade to them. You're just rebuying exactly what you already own. So for that, I find that's a little dicey. I don't like that. And the price point for this, I think is a little steep. $100 for a console that you don't know all the list of the games that are on it. You don't know if they've been digitally upgraded or not. There's going to be an HDMI cord plug-in for this, which is needed. But as far as upscaling the games, I don't know if they actually did anything with those. The thing I also find funny is a lot of the PlayStation 1 games, as far as the games that everyone remembers and loves that want to be on the system, are already either remade, rebooted completely, or are in the process of coming out as a remade version, such as Crash Bandicoot Trilogy. Crash Bandicoot was the main staple of PlayStation. If you don't remember, I'll insert a commercial right here where Crash Bandicoot literally goes to headquarters of Nintendo and calls out Mario.
Hey, plumber boy, mustache man, your worst nightmare has arrived.
Pack up your stuff. I got a little surprise for you here.
Check it out. What do you think about that? We got real-time, 3D, lush organic environments. How's that make you feel, buddy?
Feel a little like your days are numbered?
I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
You're hurting my elbow.
Is that Italian?
No, Bandicoot is an Australian name.
So, Crash Bandicoot was PlayStation's mascot for a long time. And with those games already being redone, I mean, I don't see, that doesn't speak to me as quality buy, because first of all, I already own them on disc. I think I own them on the PS1 Classic for the PS3. And I mean, if you're gonna if you want to get a new kind of experience out of something you already own, I would think buying them remastered for the PS4 or the Xbox One is the way to go. Same thing with the Spyro trilogy. Those are being already redone. Final Fantasy VII is being redone. That's why it's a hard thing, because I mean, you're gonna put Tekken games on there, of course, but I want to see if I had like a list of certain games I'd want to see. It would probably be Twisted Metal 1 through 3, at least Twisted Metal 1 and 2. I mean, those are main staples of the PlayStation 1 library. But as far as that goes, though, there's not enough games on here that would entice me to spend $100 just to have them on an emulation console. And that's just me. That's just my opinion on it. For the kids that well, kids, they're not kids anymore. For the adults that grew up with the stuff like I did, for me, it's not really that big of a draw. And because I already own most of the shit, if not all of the shit that they're going to release on it. And spending $100 just to play them through an HDMI cord, which I can already do technically on my PlayStation 1, doesn't make me want to spend the $100 on it. Now, maybe if this thing was 50, 60 bucks, you know, I might pick it up and just own it just to say that I own it. But for $100, for me, yeah, it's just not worth it. And and this is the big thing for me, like I said, like 3-4 times already, not having the list of games available, but yet you can pre-order the fucking thing, to me that speaks bullshit. I don't like that. Sony, if I'm gonna pay for a fucking product and I want to pre-order the product, I want to know every fucking thing I'm gonna get with that product. And for me not to know, I would either have to be blinded by stupidity to think that you're going to give me exactly what I want, or blinded by nostalgia thinking that I'm going to get my hands on this and I'm automatically going to have fun with all the titles you put on. And for someone that has a very big stake in collecting old games, I know there's a lot of games on the PS1 library that were not fun. Now, if you put games on there that are shit, like I think there was a scuba diver game that I can remember where that was a piece of shit. If you put that on there, I wouldn't be happy. And it's just things like that. Those are the things to take in consideration before putting the money down on this. And I saw people that were on Twitter and online immediately saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. You don't even need to ask me any questions. I will give you the money. Here's my money. Take it now. I'm not one of those kind of people. I need to know exactly what I'm fucking paying for. And Sony, I already have bones to pick with you because of how unconsumer friendly you are, and I don't trust you is the main point. So to not have the full list of games and you're going to slowly leak them out over the months all the way up to December, you can fuck off with that. And but anyway, I don't want this to be all negative. Like I said, if you are a person that didn't grow up in the PlayStation 1 era, or you were and you got rid of it and you want to experience it again, this is a good buy, depending on what games are on it, of course. But if you're looking to get back into it, it's great. $100, like I said, is a steep price to be paying for an emulation console that only has 20 games, by the way. 20 is not a lot. It just leaves, it's like I've said before in my podcast episodes, it leaves there to be room for these companies to come out with different versions. Version 1 with another 20 games, version 2 with another 20 games. And that's what I think Nintendo's going to end up doing too, but we'll see. But like I said, I will wait and see how this looks when it comes out, and if it has games that somehow I don't already own, or they have done something that's completely outrageous that's like sparks me to want to buy it, then I'll buy it and review it. But as of right now, no, it's not exciting for me enough to buy. But anyway, guys, I'd love to know your opinions on it. Feel free to let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you on the next game review or movie review. Alright guys, have a good day.